Paleo calorie counting, not to mention all the fancy diets like Dr. Bernstein, Atkins, Weight Watchers, Herbal Magic, Jenny Craig. We spent thousands of dollars we couldn't afford on the salary of 2 cops, and nothing worked. No matter how hard we tried, no matter how much money we wasted, no matter how many nutritionists and specialists we saw, nothing worked. In fact, after every single miracle diet, she ended up weighing more than when she started. These extreme diets were putting her body into shock mode, causing her to have uncontrollable cravings that had her raiding the fridge in the middle of the night and sneaking bags of Hershey Kisses. And as the years went by, it just got worse and worse. She got bigger and bigger and sadder, and our marriage became less about love and more about seeing how long we could go without a fight. Lying there, feeling my wife's warm body curled up against me, I knew I could do one of 3 things. 1, I could ignore the thoughts and the fears swirling in my mind. I could watch what was left of the woman Terry used to be fade to be replaced by a shadow with her face. I could watch our marriage crumble to nothing as we headed for the divorce I knew was in our future if we didn't do something. 2, I could get mad and bitter, rage about how unfair it was to have so much taken from us when we had both dedicated our lives to serving and protecting others, and go on antidepressants just to get me through the day. Or I could make the choice I did, the choice to fight for my wife and our family. The choice to discover the truth about the real cause of weight gain and how to stay lean and fit in your 40s, 50s, and beyond, even if you can't or just don't want to exercise. The choice to wake up every morning knowing I had done everything in my power to help the woman I still loved so much live a life as free of pain and as healthy as humanly possible. It was 2 weeks later that the solution literally hit me in the face, and it was one of the most painful experiences of my life. I was working SWAT at the time, rushing to the most dangerous situations in the city, putting my life on the line each and every day. An armed suspect was holding hostages at the top floor of a 20-story building. My job was to lead a team as we rappelled down the side of the building in full gear and hit the guy before he knew what was happening. Well, you know what they say. No plan survives contact with the enemy. We waited for the signal and then rappelled just over the side of the building, our lives literally hanging from one single rappel line. We broke the top 3 windows with a crash and tossed 3 OC pepper spray grenades to subdue everyone inside, and placed another grenade on the deck so the suspect wouldn't come running out and try to escape, or worse yet, throw one of the hostages out, possibly killing him. Just as we were about to enter the building, a massive gust of wind blew a cloud of pepper spray right back in our faces. We were coughing, sniffling, embarrassed, and could barely see. But as professionals, we still got in there and did our job. If you've ever been hit by pepper spray before, it's not a pleasant experience. For the rest of the day, I was coughing and sneezing. Tears were streaming down my face. I felt like my body was on fire inside. I could practically feel the heat radiating off me like a furnace. I felt like I'd just done an intense CrossFit workout and run a half marathon, even though I was just sitting on my couch recovering. And that's when it hit me. I already knew that oleoresin capsaicin, the OC used in pepper spray grenades, could rapidly raise your body temperature. But was it possible that it could actually burn away my wife's belly fat without exercise? Could accidentally getting hit with pepper spray actually be the answer I'd been looking for? It sounded weird, even a little bit dangerous. But then I found an article in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition that flat out proved my weird idea was actually 100% true. See, in 2012, researchers from the Hokkaido University Graduate School of Medicine ran a weird experiment. First, they put 18 healthy men aged 20 to 32 through 2 hours of cold exposure. Nothing extreme. They sat in a room with the thermostat at 66 degrees Fahrenheit, just cold enough to make the experiment work. You see, cold exposure is a well-known way to dramatically increase energy expenditure through the activation of something called brown adipose tissue. Then later, the researchers simply fed the same men 9 milligrams of capsaicinoids. After both treatments, they measured the men's skin temperature and energy expenditure for 2 hours in a single blind, randomized, placebo-controlled crossover design. What did they discover? That when the men were given the capsaicinoids, as opposed to a placebo, it increased energy expenditure and activation of brown adipose tissue just as much as after the cold exposure. In other words, the capsaicin alone raised the inner thermostat for men, turning their bodies into a veritable fat-burning furnace. But that wasn't all. I also learned how capsaicin could actually transform useless and dangerous white fat into high-octane brown fat that actually burns your ugly white fat for energy. meaning you can actually use your unwanted white fat as fuel instead of burning sugar like most folks do. And it makes it almost impossible to get and stay thin. I don't want to get too scientific here, but the easiest way to picture the way brown fat works is to picture a car with the engine revving and the clutch pedal pushed all the way to the floor. Brown fat uncouples the calorie burning of fat and sugar through the actions of a class of regulating proteins called uncoupling proteins. When the brown fat mitochondria are uncoupled, it's like revving your engine all the way into the red without letting the car go into gear. All of a sudden, you're burning a ton of fat without moving a muscle, losing weight while sitting on your butt and watching TV. That was the good news. The bad news, as I soon discovered, was that the only real source of capsaicin is cayenne pepper. You know, that stuff that makes you sneeze and sweat and wish you could just bury your head in a giant bucket of water until the pain goes away, which is why we use it for those grenades in the first place, to totally incapacitate a criminal. I imagined my beautiful wife with her eyes watering, sweating profusely, and telling me I'd done something horrible to her, and knew that cayenne pepper wasn't going to do the job. I needed to find another spice that would have all the benefits of capsaicin, but could actually be ingested without making you feel like your eyeballs were going to burn through your skull. I spent hours and hours digging through journal after journal, but eventually I broke down into tears when I found it. The holy grail spice that just might save my wife's life. A secret spice I can't reveal to you yet that turned out to be the holy grail of weight loss we've been looking for decades, and that gave all the incredible benefits of capsaicin without any of the terrible and painful side effects. As I finished reading, I felt like I wanted to cry. Not because I was sad, but because for the first time in years, I felt hope that I could actually help my wife and help us get our life and our relationship back on track. The next morning, I got to work like a man possessed. I knew the secret spice I discovered could raise your body temperature and help you turn your bad white fat into good brown fat. And that just by transforming her bad fat into good fat, I could change Tara's life forever and give her back the hope she'd been denied for so long. But how else could I give her that? I mean, I couldn't expect to throw a grenade at my wife. Not only would that lead to my getting divorced, but from my research, I knew popping a pepper spray grenade was